Okay, so this is where we left off, okay? So what's gonna be our, what are we gonna do to find the derivative? Because we have, that's our goal, is to find y prime. So what are we gonna do? Yeah, that's what we're gonna do, exactly. And we're gonna use the product rule because it's x times cotangent of x, okay? Times cotangent of x, they're multiplying together. They're two functions multiplying together. So we're gonna use product rule. So the product rule says, so y prime equals the first times the derivative of the second. So the derivative of cotangent, let's go back to our list. The derivative of cotangent is negative cosecant squared. Negative cosecant squared. Okay. So let's go back to here. So negative cosecant squared of x. So you guys know in trig, you can write squared. They write squared a little differently. Like if I'm trying to say sine squared, which means sine times itself, right? You can write it like that, or you can write it like this. It means the same thing. Those mean the same thing. It just means whatever you get for sine at that angle. So whatever you get for sine at this angle or this angle, square it. Okay, so whatever sine is at that angle, square it. That's all it means. So so in trig, they write it up there. Don't know why they do it there, but that's what it means. Okay. Okay, so plus the opposite now. So the derivative of the first, which is just 1, times the original of the second, which is cotangent of x. Okay. So we clean it up a little bit. We move the negative to the front. You don't have to write the 1 because it's just implied it's there. Since one's a cosecant squared and one's a cotangent, they're not like terms. So you just leave them like that. Okay, most of the time these questions will be multiple choice questions. So you're just trying to match it to one of the 4 or 5 options they give you. Most of the time, almost every time I've seen these types of questions are always multiple choice questions. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Oh, that was the last one. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to find a derivative on your calculator. So if you have a regular TI 83, 84 calculator, take it out. Let's use it. If you don't, come grab one of the class sets. Okay, come grab one. I have enough for everyone. I just don't have enough for everyone. Okay, so you guys I have enough for. Okay. Okay, so my statistics class uses these every day. So because they're allowed to. In AP statistics, we can use the calculator for anything. In AP Calc, we can only use it for about 30% of what we do. So very infrequently do we use the calculators in class because they just don't allow us to. Okay, there's a few chapters where some of the stuff is calculator okay, but one of the ways that we do so on a calculator, obviously the bottom left where it says on, That's how you turn it on. The screen right here in front of you, that's the home screen. Okay, so if there's nothing on it, that's the home screen. How do you get to the home screen? Well, if you're not there, you can go to second, which is the on my button, it's blue. I think it's blue on all the calculators. Some calculators it's not blue. Some calculators it is. It's second, and then right above the mode right next to it, it says quit. That quits whatever function you're doing, and it gets you back to the home screen. This is a screen where if you need to add, subtract, multiply, divide, that's where you do it. Okay. So like if you want to do 9 divided by 3, that's where you would do it, right? Okay. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to do derivatives. How to do derivatives. Okay. So the first thing is the derivative. So most of the stuff that we do in this class is going to be under the math function. So if you look at math over here, right underneath 2 buttons below second, it says math. Mine's black, yours might be different color, but mine is a black button. Okay. And then there's a couple categories here: math, numbers, complex, probability, and fractions. We're going to stay with math, and we're going to go down past all of these to where it says n deriv. N deriv. Then you're going to hit enter. Okay. That should look familiar. Right? That should look familiar. That is what we've been seeing, right? So what we're going to do is let's do something easy that we can do in our head just to verify that the calculator is telling us the truth, right? So let's pick something really easy. Like we're going to find the derivative. Let's say the derivative. Let's do something like 4x squared. Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to put d over dx. So your variable button is right below the mode, right next to alpha, the green button. X, it says X, big X, T, theta, N. That's your variable button. Hit that, it'll give you an X. It's your variable, what you want, it's your independent variable. Okay, so now here we're going to plug in our function. Our function is 4x squared. That's what we want to find the derivative of. So we go 4, variable button, squared. You see the squared right above the log on the left side. 4x squared. Okay, it says that's what I want you to find the derivative of. Now the calculator is not able to find the derivative of 4x squared. It is able to find the derivative at 1 point. So it'll give you the slope. So let's say we want to find the slope at 1. So we say x equals 1. Well, we can do this one in our head. The derivative of 4x squared is 8x. If I plug in 1, it should be 8, right? That should be 8. Hit enter, see what you get. There it is. Okay. So the calculator is able to do derivatives at certain points. It's not able to do derivatives. It's not able to, it's not able to do like straight derivatives. Like if I just, all I wanted was a derivative of 4x squared, it's not going to tell me 8x. But if you want at a point, it can do that. Okay. So I'm recording this. So if you want calculator directions on how to do derivative, you can just watch the video. Okay. So that's one thing. The second thing that we're going to use the calculator for is finding values of so what I want you to do is go to y squared, or sorry, go to y, the button top left. If there's anything in there, delete it. If there's anything in there, delete it. Just delete by clear. Clear is the button you can hit. Okay. Also, go to, now this is going to be important because in my stats class we've been doing a lot of graphs. So so where we graph those is you hit second, y equals, second, y equals, and that should give you this right here. So number one, your plot most likely will say on. If number one, your plot says off, like if it's your calculator, then you don't have to worry about this. But if it's one of the calculators from the tub, then this probably says on. If it says on, make sure you turn it off. So I don't want to see any of my statistics so hit off, scroll to off, and then come back. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to graph something. We're going to graph. This is one of the things, the big things. This is one of the reasons why when we are able to use calculators, it comes in handy. Okay. All right. So now let's go back to y equals. We're going to graph something. We're going to graph something. Let's graph something easy. 4x squared. We have 4x squared. Let's graph that. Okay. So again, 4 variable squared. Okay. So we're telling the calculator, that's what I want you to graph. And then you're not going to go to graph. Okay, you're actually going to go to zoom. Zoom is the button top row in the middle. You're going to go to zoom. And then you're going to go down to decimal number 4. Zoom decimal. Zoom decimal number 4. Hit 4 or go down to 4. And that's the graph there. It'll give you the graph there. Okay. That's one of the features that we use a lot. Another feature is solutions or roots or zeros. So if I wanted to find the zeros for this guy here, where am I looking at? If I want to find the zeros for this graph here in front of you guys, where am I looking at? Exactly, where it touches or crosses the x-axis. Okay, so many people, I mean, that's something right now we're going in math. In math 3, we're talking about zeros and roots and stuff like that. But you wouldn't believe how many times I ask calculus students, how do you find the zeros of a graph? And they have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, it's huge because when they let you use the calculator, that's one of the things you're going to need to do. Find the zeros. Now, this one's not hard to find, right? This one's not hard to do because it's pretty obvious. It touches right there in the middle at 0. Okay, but there's going to be some functions where it's going to be crazy, and I don't know exactly where. So the calculator will help us do that. Okay, so how do we calculate the zeros if there are more than one? Right above trace, right next to zoom is a blue calc. You see a blue calc up there. That's the button I want because I want to calculate things. Okay, so calc, second, trace, and it gives me things that I can calculate. It gives me things like a value, 0, maximum, minimum, intersect, dy over dx. That should look familiar right there. That's a derivative. So if I want to find the derivative at one point, you can use that guy. And then the last one we'll use next semester, that's integration there. Okay, so what I want to do is 0. So I want to find the 0. And then it's going to say, okay, well, use your little cursor, to tell me where to approximate it. Where's the left side of the 0? Well, I'm kind of right on it right now. So the left side is probably over there a little bit. That's to the left of the 0. So I'm going to hit enter. And then where's the right side of the 0? Well, it's a little bit over here. Go past it a little bit. And then it said, if you had a best guess, tell me where it is. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to on top of it. That's my best guess right there. And then it says, there it is. The 0 is at when x equals 0 and y equals 0. Okay, that's where the 0 is. Okay, like I said, for this one, it's not that bad because it was kind of obvious. But trust me, it won't always be obvious. So this function helps quite a bit. Okay, so let's go back to second calc. Okay. Actually, you know what? Let me show you the table. Right above graph is table. Let's go to a table. Then you have a table. This is all the values. So if I were to plug in any of these numbers into my function, 4x squared, this is what I would get. Now, I don't know about some of your calculators. I've set my calculator up so I can plug in any number. So for example, I don't know if your calculator can do this because it's not done in the settings, but it is possible. Like if I wanted to plug in a number, plug in 12, I'd get 576. Plug in negative 15 or 15, yeah. I wouldn't get an answer. Oops, let me go back. I should probably put those in parentheses. Parentheses. Negative 15. Still no, I wonder why. Okay, so any number you want to get, decimal or whatever, that's how you get it, as long as the function is in y, is in your graph. Okay. So let me pick another function and let you guys play with it a little bit, since we have some time, since we're done with the notes. So I'm going to pick a function and I want you guys to tell me the zeros of the function. Okay, so you're going to go to y squared, y equals, you're going to delete everything that's in there, because if you don't delete it, the calculator is going to think you still want it. Well, we don't want it anymore. We're on to a new one. Okay, so let me give you okay, so graph this one here. So this is what you're going to put into your y equals. So you're going to have 4x cubed minus 10x squared plus 13x. And that's it. Okay, so tell me where the zeros are. Tell me where their zeros are. There's going to be at least one, might be more. So use your calculator to tell me where the zeros are of this guy. So if you want to go cubed on your calculator, if you want to cube something, this little caret underneath the clear button, that'll raise it to a power. It's the same thing as raising to a power. So if you want to zoom out, like this picture, like it's going up and then it's going to come back down. So if you want to zoom out, you can zoom out using zoom and then number 3. And then it'll say where do you want to zoom out on? Do you want to zoom out from here, or do you want to move over and zoom out from over here? Where do you want to zoom out from? And then you just hit enter. So it looks like it's only going to cross that one spot. And it's at 0. Crosses at 0 again. Okay. The value one is pretty beneficial too, because the value is the same thing as a table. It'll tell you, okay, so what X value do you want to know for this graph? 5. Okay, when Y is 5, or sorry, when X is 5, Y is 315. So it's not like a table. It'll tell you where it is on the graph too. Okay. Desmos does all of these. Like a lot of you use Desmos, which is fine. Like for homework assignments and stuff like that, Desmos is fine. Desmos is great. Problem is AP doesn't allow Desmos. AP and Desmos aren't, you know, they don't allow any kind of, the only technology they allow is a graphing calculator. So even though I think Desmos is has better functions than this, we're not allowed to use it. Okay, so that's why we use graphing calculators still. Okay, hopefully that'll change soon, but for right now, we got to deal with what we got to deal with. So the calculator, like I said, the calculator will do everything you want it to. It's a great thing to use. It's a great, but you got to know how to use it. Okay, you got to know how to use it. So like I said, in this class, most of the stuff that we look at will be looking at a graph and telling different things from the graph, or under this math feature here, this math guy right here. Okay. Also, we skipped it. Since we're on it right now, we want to calculate dy dx. So the derivative at 1 point. So if I have the derivative at 1 point. Okay. So if I want to calculate the derivative at 1 point, derivative at 1 point. So you scroll to that point, hit enter, and it gives you the derivative at that point. So what do you want? 6, 5.6. Which point do you want the derivative at? I want the derivative at 2. Hit enter. The derivative at 2 is about 21. About 2 right here. The derivative is 21. Slope is at 21. Okay. All right. Okay. So I just want to show you that since we had time, since we only had that one problem left. So the rest of the time, I'm going to give you guys to work on your assignment. Okay. So grab your Chromebook, grab your desk number Chromebook.